Okay, welcome back once again. We've looked at the essay in general in the previous video. Now let's go ahead and look at the introduction. So the questions that we have for analysis, for our analysis of the introduction are: how does the writer introduce the topic? In which sentence mainly conveys the writer's opinion about the topic? So we looked at that in general in the previous video, but let's go into more detail now. So if you need to, pause for a minute and read the essay if you haven't read it yet, or read the first paragraph, and when you're ready, just continue the video so that we can start with our analysis. All right, so as you have seen, the beginning of the essay, when the writer writes, many cities and countries around the world have increased their investment in the arts and culture in the last few years, and this is supported by a large section of their populations. The writer states a fact, and then the writer introduces a contrast. Surprisingly, this is happening while many children still do not have access to good education, and some of their citizens die because the hospitals are not well equipped to treat them, and that's it. So this is an interesting strategy here. The writer is introducing the topic and trying to get the reader interested in the topic by introducing a contrast. And how does the writer do that? Well, states a fact and then states a contrasting statement to that fact. And we're going to highlight it here to make it easier for you. Okay, so that's what's been highlighted in green. And this is a strategy, again, to get the reader interested, or to hook the reader into the essay itself. We call this a hook. And then there's another key element here which aligns with, which responds question number 2, right? The sentence that conveys the writer's main opinion. Well, it begins with, in my view. So, in my view, governments should first invest in more basic services because they help a larger section of the population and also generate development. So this sentence here does a couple of things. First of all, it shows that the writer believes that governments should prioritize basic services. And there's 2 reasons for that. One of them is because they help a larger section of the population and generate development. Again, 2 reasons which point to 2 body paragraphs. If we had 3 reasons, as we said before, we would have 3 body paragraphs, and that's how we would turn this essay into a 5-paragraph essay. But for now, we have a hook to get the reader interested by introducing a contrast, which is a rhetorical strategy here, a strategy to bring the writer into your argument. And then the presentation of the argument itself, plus the reasons. And in between them, the situation raises serious questions about how our local governments should prioritize investments. This is what we call a bridge or a connection. It's a connecting statement that ties in the hook with the thesis statement. And the thesis statement is the name of the last sentence, the sentence that introduces an argument and the reasons. And by definition, if you define it really simply, a thesis statement is a statement that readers can agree or disagree with, right? Because somebody else could write another essay saying, no, governments should invest in the arts as they invest in basic services as well. So it should all happen simultaneously. Again, the position that you take here is not as important as your illustration in development of that position. If you have a position and you develop it well and you illustrate it well, then you're probably fine. Okay, but you could have different opinions and write about those different opinions. So that's why we call this last statement a thesis statement, because it can be agreed or disagreed with. But basically, this is what an introduction should contain: a hook, a thesis statement. I would probably say in an order of importance. You should include the thesis statement first in order of importance, right? And then the hook, and then the bridge connecting them both. That's probably how we should go about writing our introductions. Okay, so thank you for your attention throughout this video, and see you in the next one where we talk about body paragraph 1.